to the Sideload, where we're texting like it's 2006. I'm your host, Will Sattelberg. This week, I'm joined by Tang and Joe Hollier of Light, hot off the announcement of their next phone, the Light Flip, set to debut early next year. We do talk a good bit about the Light Flip, but really, Kai and Joe are big picture thinkers, and this turns into a big picture conversation pretty quickly. A lot of the topics that I've discussed on the show, certainly over the past few weeks, but also over the past year that I've been doing the show, sort of come to a head in this conversation. We talk a lot about the urge to curtail smartphone usage throughout the past decade, this urge in Gen Z and younger audiences specifically to find, older, less smart devices to run their lives on. The feeling that maybe this can all be a little too overwhelming. I think it's a really fun conversation that barely scratches the surface of what the three of us could have chatted about. So I'm absolutely looking forward to having them back on in the future. But until then, here is a very energetic conversation with Joe and Kai of Light. You're probably already trying your best at online security. You don't repeat passwords, you're careful about where you log into your bank account, and anytime you get a weird email, you are always careful if there's a link involved. But if you aren't browsing the web with a VPN, you're missing out on a crucial layer of protection, and that's where NordVPN comes in. Without NordVPN, your IP address and browsing habits are an open book to your internet service provider and potential bad actors on public Wi-Fi. NordVPN helps fix that by encrypting your internet traffic so what you're doing isn't just floating around the network. With more than 9,000 VPN servers covering more than 188 locations, it's also built to stay fast, so you're not stuck choosing between security and a usable connection. And it comes with features that actually matter day to day. Threat protection helps block malicious sites and trackers, while a built-in kill switch helps prevent accidental leaks if your VPN connection drops. If you want to stop risking your data on public Wi-Fi, and trust me, you do, you can save 76% on a 2-year subscription, plus score 4 additional months for free just by going to nordvpn.com/9to5off and signing up for a 2-year subscription. That's nordvpn.com/9to5off to claim this offer. Thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this show. I am thrilled to welcome from Light Phone, Kai and Joe to talk about what I think is a pretty exciting announcement and maybe just Light Phone in general, because I've been fascinated by you guys since the first Light Phone.
Oh, thanks.
And yeah, I mean the Light Phone 3 is still like, I think I had Michael Fisher on last year to talk about it because he published a big review of it, and it's just a fascinating piece of hardware. And I think what you guys are doing with the Light Flip is such an interesting parallel to it. But let's start with the Flip. Let's focus on the Flip first. Tell me a little bit about. I mean, let's just start with the thought process behind making a flip, like a true flip phone, not a Galaxy Z Flip 8, but like a flip phone.
Yeah, I don't think we ever thought about making a flip phone back in the days when we started the company in 2015. It's the idea was pretty recent. I'm gonna say 2 years ago. Roughly, we start getting emails and customers' feedback about, hey, I really resonate. I love what you guys are doing, but I don't want a smartphone anymore. I want something that look different. I'm using an old school flip phone. Can you guys build a flip phone? And I think at the time I was like, it's probably just ritual, because that's where my career started back in the days 20 years ago. So maybe just like temporary outliner, and we start getting more people asking for a flip phone, and I guess we start getting really curious about what's this all about, because it's a smartphone, we have Light Phone. If you resonate with what we're doing, maybe Light Phone is good for you. So we set out to interview our users, not our users, but young generation, Gen Z or younger, who stick with the flip phone for 4 or 5 years and never had an iPhone. And I want to understand why, or what's going on there,
and why not a Light Phone too? Like that was our other thought. We're like, we're making this phone.
Right, it's the phone you want. Well, it's interesting, and so you guys are not, maybe this is too big picture already, but you guys are obviously not the only company kind of trying to do this like minimalist device thing. But you you are certainly one of the premier ones. And in fact, I would say that you guys are. I have had a couple real life friends of mine who are not techies, not in this world, like ask me about the light phone and be like, because so it's like, I'm technically a millennial, but I'm 95, right? So it's like right on the border of like millennial and Gen Z, and so a lot of my friends kind of bleed. We have aspects of both of those generations, and I have friends who are my age who are like, and I'm starting to feel like them of like, I've carried this. For us, it's like I've carried this device for half my life. Am I tired of always being connected? I literally talked about this in the last episode of this podcast, but like it's I got my first smartphone at 15. I'm 30, almost 31. It's a long time to
it's a lot of hours
online. Yeah, like permanently online, right? And
I mean, that's actually our whole thing is about the permanence of online. We're not anti-technology. It's not about black or white. I use the internet or I don't use it at all. We found like our whole mission has always been about compartmentalizing and carving out space that we call going light to, take these breaks. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, okay. So on the light flip, so you guys have been asked about this and again and again. Where do you start designing this, right? Because it's a big step. I mean, even just to go back to physical buttons, which you are doing, and not a volume rocker or a power button, but everything is physical. Like, what is the process of designing something like that in 2025, 2026?
We started with user interviews, right? Like Kai started calling users and seeing what exists today, why people are using it, what they love about their flip phone, and what isn't working, and trying to find if we are positioned to improve on that. And like, Kai can talk about a lot of those findings, I'm sure.
What they say, like, it's really funny. They're like, oh, we were asking, why do you use flip phone for so many years? It's like, oh, my flip phone sucked. Oh, they're ugly. They're stupid. No one's repairing them.
The bugs, it just shuts off randomly. It's crazy. You're just like, you just deal with that.
It's 2G, it's 3G. And they stick with it. They change, like, keep buying the flip phone, 4 or 5 different of them, and stick with it. And I think at the end of the day, there's a couple of things I think they just so strongly believe in resonating with that form factors. One, I think they all describing this action of closing the technology and it goes away. I think that's just what we do right now as well. Like you flip your phone upside down to signifying the technology goes away. We do that with our smartphone. But with flip phone, it's just such a satisfying action to do, and none of the smartphone, iPhone 255 Galaxy can do. I think they love that. At the same time, like I think we have people telling us, if I remember correctly, like they don't want to be seen as texting on the smartphone. They don't want to see texting this a little
this
glass
is like,
piece of glass.
Obvious, I do not use a smartphone statement.
Yeah. I use a smartphone.
Where like our Light Phone 3 feels and looks and everything about the experience isn't a smartphone, but at the end of the day, it is a touchscreen glass rectangle. And I think, like, I remember Logan Lane from the Luddite Club. She was really like, we love the Light Phone. You guys are the epitome of what we want in a phone company. But I am so anti big tech that I don't want someone to even think I have a smartphone. I want them to know I am not that. But she's like, I've had 7 flip phones in the last 5 years. I've spent almost $1,000 on them because they keep breaking. They're really crappy. But she's like, I just can't go. So it was like the two things, like they love the intentionalness. They don't. A lot of them don't even need maps and some of the things that we consider, core utilities. But none of them definitely asked about AI. And
but fundamentally, I think fundamentally, all coming from this place of sick of social media, sick of big tech, sick of AI everywhere, and the flip phone, choosing flip phone is an act of a rebellion, right? This represents my belief system. I mean, this probably sounds horrible, but it's just represents
people want to wear their values, and like every light phone user, even before the light flip, embodies that. if you could ask any light phone user about their phone, they're like, well, I was at the bar the other night and some guy said, what the heck is that thing? Is that a phone? And for 2 hours, we talked about what it means to be a human in 2022
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
relation to technology. They don't talk about the specs. They don't talk about
Yeah.
this. They talk about the bigger picture, and they're proud to be anti. They're like, how do you do social media? Like, well, I have it on my home computer. I don't want it 24/7. And,
Yeah.
and that's like, so our users have always been proud. The original light phone, people are like, why don't you get a flip phone? And we're like, we wanted to make it special so that you're just like, look, I'm not rejecting technology. I'm choosing
Right.
a new, more intentional path forward. So it's not, I don't think it's that frivolous. People wear shirts for bands they like, for teams they like, it's
Yeah.
like a way of sharing your values. And I think the flip phone just is like so embodies that.
Well, it's counterculture in a way,
Totally.
right? Like it and I'm trying to think of an example that would be as predominant as saying no to the modern smartphone in
I mean,
the
wired
1970s or
headphones
80s or
making a
90s.
comeback was a
Sure, yeah. I mean, so
small
much of
version
that,
that.
yeah. But there's always been a select group of people throughout every decade that has been like, whatever the big thing is right now, like I don't like it, like I'm not about it, and I'm going a different direction. And there's kind of never been anything bigger than the smartphone, right? Which is certainly a problem the tech industry has been facing for 20 years now as they try to find the next smartphone, and it hasn't happened, right? And
well, it's really similar to smoking. Like, I think
that's the closest one I could think of is smoking.
Quit smoking takes 20 years. Like society, us, it collectively took 20 years for us to come
Or
from
more,
smoking is
yeah.
cool, smoking's everywhere. I mean, in the film and movies, all good. And then, maybe it's not healthy. Maybe it causes cancer.
Absolutely.
And then it's like,
I mean,
fuck smoking. Oh, sorry. Screw smoking.
You're fine. You're fine. No, so totally sort of off topic, but like to your point, so my fiance started watching a few weeks ago Sex and the City for the first time, and as you do when you live with somebody, I also watched Sex and the City, right? Like I basically, I didn't see every episode, but I saw the bulk of it, and it is fascinating because that show runs from like 98 to 2004, I think.
Yeah.
And the main at the first 3 seasons or so, the Sarah Jessica Parker's character is smoking constantly, just ripping cigarettes, like genuinely like 5 or 6 in like per episode. And then by the end of the show, she's not smoking anymore because like New York State has implemented its bans by then, and so on and so on. It's like fascinating.
We are there, like meaning
exactly.
That we're trying to government country trying to figure out how do we restrict usage? How do we put an age limit? How do we ban smartphone or social media on campus? So we are there. The next step is what? Next step is like, if you want to swipe your social media, here's a designated zone. So you go there and swipe your social media. Like it's the evolution of this attitude mindset. It's just like identical to smoking once we know.
And I like your metaphor you always say about like, if you are on an individual level trying to quit smoking, you're not just going to put a piece of tape over a pack of cigarettes and keep it in your pocket. You're going to take the cigarettes out of your sight, out of mind as much as possible so you can actually break the habit and change the habits. And I think that's why we felt from day one that a different phone altogether rather than a software solution. Also, there was in 2014, when Kai and I started, an app couldn't take over the whole phone. Like some of these new sort of apps are able to. So we were like, the phone, and there's all sorts of studies about how just the presence of a smartphone could distract you, even if it doesn't ring, ping, or ding, because our brains are thinking about that email you forgot to reply to, that post that really bummed you out. So we just were like, we want to change the user experience, less on the swiping, more on physical buttons. And, obviously every tool we build is around intentionality, and we can go deep into all the LightOS ethos. But I think fundamentally, we're like, we need to take the cigarettes out of our pockets, if we were trying to actually have
overnight.
this.
Overnight. No one quits smoking overnight. It's always a process. Like you try to quit smoke less, just the weekend. Or just a holiday. I think it's the same thing with quitting smartphone. Not quitting, but try to find a balance between your smartphone usage and your relationship with social media and smartphone. It's not black and white. It doesn't go off right away. So it's a process of, I'll use light phone as a secondary phone. I'll use light phone on the weekend. And it's perfectly healthy. And what we want what we hopefully our user will eventually get to is you realize there's no point having millions and millions and millions of apps in this piece of glass that you sleep with it, wake up with it, go to the toilet with it, eat with it, you do everything with it 24/7.
Those are too close in your sentence.
Yeah,
it's fascinating. It's like this has been a big thing for me this year in particular, that I finally kind of hit a breaking point with social media in particular, where I realized that, like, you know, when Twitter was Twitter, like, let's rewind the clock a decade. You know, you don't have to go that far back, but let's make it clean, right? I knew I was wasting my time, but I certainly got enjoyment out of it, right?
And
like I could feel that I was
wasting it
having
with
a good
other
time.
humans, at least. It
Yes,
felt like. Whereas now, like, I'm like, is it even social media? Where are my friends on this feed?
It's just
Like, you know.
so like Twitter is
Rage.
just it's all rage bait or trolls or bots or whatever. Blue Sky is, I
Or
just said this on a different episode.
advertising.
It's like,
If you're
yeah,
looking
it's
at Instagram, it's sponsored this, posted
well,
that.
yeah, Threads is all like engagement posts. Like I want to get replies, and Blue Sky is like the closest, but it's like very like. And I get why, but it's like it can be a very negative space to hang out in, right? It's not like old Twitter where you would see, like,
Yeah.
I never share a Blue Sky post because it's funny. Like, that's just not what's happening over there. And so I hit this breaking point where I was like, what are we doing anymore? Like, this isn't
Exactly.
even fun anymore. And
That's my favorite phrase. Are we having fun anymore? Like, it's a genuine question.
No. Yeah,
even AI too. What are we doing to ourselves? What the hell? Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
So
a can of worms.
We can open it if we want to, but that might have to be a second episode.
but going back to what you were just saying,
Yeah.
using
Social media?
social media, yes, social media. It's not the social media, sorry. It's not the social media per se, right? It's a business model, right? It's the attention civilian economy that drive that behavior, not our behavior or our behavior too, but it drives how people design social media. You don't pay for it. So they got to make money somehow. I think we all know that by now. It's not a surprise.
Free, you know,
yeah,
obviously.
It's obviously not free. They're a $1 billion company. Where does $1 billion come from? Come from your data, come from your friends, your family, your friends, your kids' location, all the family photos, everything you do on social media are their property to analyze and sell it to the highest bidder. And that
or train AI models on it.
Exactly. And like, what are we doing to ourselves? Like, and we all feel horrible. When was the last time you spent 2 hours on, I don't know which social media, TikTok, and swiping 2 hours, you snap out of it. You're like, ooh, I feel so good about myself. I feel proud. I'm going to do it again. We always hated it, and we keep doing it. And then we keep saying, oh, we should have self-control. I don't need to get rid of my iPhone. I just need self-control. Like, when does that work? The last 20 years, how does that work out for us?
Let me tell you guys my experience real quick with what I ended up doing this year that has kind of worked. I'm not going to say I'm pure that I've stayed off social. I was certainly on social media yesterday on my phone, but like the thing that, so I've tried all digital well-being, all of the various apps, black and white screens, everything, right? You've tried like certainly the app timer will work this time. Never does. You just pause it and you go back in. What finally did it for me was I spent like a good month or 2 months, basically my evenings instead of just like watching something passively on TV, I was like, I'm going to consciously dig into my gaming backlog for like as long as I can until I kind of burn out. And I would basically just spend like with my fiance. It was single player games. It was like RPGs or whatever. But like we would play this together and play it on the TV or on like a handheld or whatever. And because I was holding something and it needed my attention to happen, like I started like it took like 2 months, but I started breaking the cycle. And now last night we were watching television. Not super far before bed, and I saw my phone. I went to like grab my phone. It was on the coffee table in front of me, and I was like, "Wait, no! Like, let me just focus on this thing we're watching."
Who's calling me now?
Like,
what do I need to?
Like it's 10:30 at night. There's nothing on that phone for me, realistically, and it was like, I had that moment of like, a year ago, my brain would not have caught that. I would have picked that phone up.
Well,
so
good for you.
Can get there,
those
but
are the kinds of
steps
that are important. And I think a beautiful thing we see is that when you replace the screen time with almost anything else. For me, it's piano and skateboarding and reading books or catching up on old films that I wish I
Yeah.
saw, like,
Oh yeah.
cult
The
classics that I'm
best.
like, how did I never see this? And you're like, well, you spent how many hours on? So once you replace that screen time with things that are actually more meaningful, instead of getting out of a TikTok scroll hole and being like, what the hell did I just do for 2 hours? You're like, oh, I actually feel a little bit accomplished, a little bit inspired. And as you do
Yeah,
that a few days in a row and a few weeks in a row, you stop even wanting to check the social media because you're like,
absolutely.
that's actually just like chaos and makes me feel exhausted and my attention span
Yeah.
all and
You
it's a
retrain
hyper
your behavior.
connectivity. Yeah. And
One of
it's
the games one of the games I
inspiring.
played was Resident Evil 2, the remake. I've owned basically since it came out. I picked up like $20 that year. It's been 6 years, never played it. Finally played it and like
Yeah.
had a great time, right? Like had a blast. It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
And yesterday that the Zach Cregger Resident Evil trailer came out. And like my fiance and I watched it, and like when there's a shot where he like, well, first there was a shot of a typewriter, and we both had the typewriter. But then what really got me, and I never do this. I can't remember the last time I did the like point at thing you recognize and clap thing, but like he opens the drawer and it's the exact box of ammo from Resident Evil 2, and I was like, that's my ammo. And I got so excited, and I was like, I would not have had this reaction if I hadn't like put my phone down and like played this thing I've owned for 6 years.
And
Awesome.
that
Same thing with the
emotion the emotion connection you never have by swiping.
Exactly.
The simple test is like you could just swipe for 2 hours and just ask yourself, what do you remember? What's the
Yeah,
sweet thing you
100%.
remember from swiping? Like you don't remember anything.
Or
You
if you
just
remember
go,
something, it's like the most infuriating thing that you saw. It's not
exactly.
like the
100%.
happy cat or dog or like, there are things on the internet that bring me true joy. A good meme can like, it's undeniable,
100
but it's not just 100% good memes I'm seeing. It's
No.
jealousy, a house I can't afford. Oh, my friends went on a trip and I wasn't invited, or there's a war going on here, or this politician said that, or like, it's just a lot of things to be consuming within like a split second, back to back to back to back to back to back. So
Yeah.
I think it's making us feel not just like bad, but like, confused and
it's
hopeless.
supposed to be a tool, supposed to be to my hammer and screwdriver. Why does that make me feel so bad? Why does it take out so much of my time? Like my hammer didn't take out my time. Like, why does this thing take out so much of my time?
Yeah, well, and it's like I do want, so like, going back to the hardware side, it's like I have the light phone or the light flip webpage up, and so it's like in this image you can see phone, alarm, music, podcast, calendar, directions, notes on the home screen, right? And there's a second page. But it's like I read that and it's like that is kind of all. God, that looks good. That is kind of all that's the phone 3.
That's what you
that's
need.
all I need, right? I mean, like truly, like music and podcasts are like I probably the two. I mean, my podcast app is like the reason to carry around a smartphone for me like half the time. Not just because I listen to a lot of podcasts, but also because when I edit a podcast, I listen back to it like in my headphones rather than sit at my computer. And so it's like a miracle for that. Directions, notes, of being able to text
And these
somebody.
are all
like,
things that you're not just going to be like at dinner pulling it out and
Exactly.
ignoring your fiance because you're like, oh, sorry, I had to do this thing. And I mean, email's a funny one because email obviously is so tied to our careers for the most part. And like you can argue the productivity of email, but I found that not having an email on my phone is my personal favorite feature because I use my laptop. It's a full-size keyboard, and I have these times a day where I open it, I consciously do it, and then I close it and I focus on a task. And everyone on my team, you can set expectations even without a light phone. You can have these conversations of like, I'm not going to check email after this hour. If it's urgent, call or text me. If not, I'll see it in the morning. It's never urgent. How many times has someone actually called me or texted me at night? Be like, Joe, did you see my email? Like, yes, it's happened once in like 4 years, maybe. But
sure,
like,
it'll
then
happen,
I get
but
to a computer and.
I have like I've kind of been in the same boat. I don't know what made this happen to me over time, right? Because I was I had an email address when I was 10 or whatever, and right, so I've been emailing for 20 years, and I don't know when this happened, but like my brain started to think of it as like, and like, I don't even think text messages need this urgency most of the time, but like, oh, I got an email that I need to reply to. I need to reply to it right now. If I don't reply to this email that in 5 minutes goes by, this person's going to like be frustrated with me. And it's like, no one emails me like that. When I email somebody, I don't like, why am I anxious about this? And I have like adapted to be like,
true like stress thing, like this expectation, like people even like, our first light phone was only phone calls, and they had to break that habit of like replying to a text immediately. And it's like, when did we make ourselves so 24/7 available to the entire universe? Like, I didn't sign up for that. I got a phone because I thought I could like take photos and like share them with my friends. I didn't be like, oh, I want to check my email before I brush my teeth. I want to do this
when I wake up, when I go to bed, everything.
Like if someone tried to sell the smartphone.
It's so important too. Like this tool conversation, email or camera or a note taking. Like what are essentials? How do we design tools that just essentials, like say, for example, camera. The camera, we didn't have it on iPhone 1 and 2, and we added an iPhone 3. And we thought, I originally thought it's like such a distraction, take you out of the moment. But at the same time, the camera is a really good documenting tool. You document and receive a moment and you move on, right? So what we don't like is the commenting, the liking, the sharing. You might always go to like, what platform I'm going to share this with? Who's going to see this? How many like I'm going to get?
The dopamine, waiting for the dopamine. Yeah.
But a documenting tool is great. So in this tool, and we design accordingly, even music tool, like it's not about discovering or recommendation. It just intentionally create a playlist that you wanted to listen when you're bored or when you're trying to be productive or creative. You have the playlist acting as a tool. So like I don't know if you saw, but we wrote out our own toolbox, open sourced it, so people could create tools locally for themselves. Like, I don't know, subway map in Amsterdam. We can't get to it easily or quickly, but we open up the whole the SDK so people could do that for themselves and share that with the community. We have a couple thousand developers building tools, tinkering, building the things they wanted to do using our the tools that we offer, the UI, so it all look the same, right? Yeah. And we have a tool library that, aka App Store, that will focus on just utility tools. So imagine like Apple and Google has their own app stores, but here we have a toolbox that just
open source.
It's a clever way to describe it. Yeah.
And it's been amazing, even in the, I don't know, maybe just barely 3.5 weeks or so that we like published it live and have had users. Like this morning, someone made a Philips light switch so you can change the color of your lights on your phone. And it's like, no one's calling that distraction. Someone's working on a Tesla car key to open their phone. And it's like taking away this friction that's, holds people from making, we've seen Bible tools, guitar tuners.
What? If somebody wants to doom scroll the Bible, let them. It's fine. Let them doom scroll the Bible. That's fine.
Yeah, we always think that if you buy the phone full price, you should do whatever you want. It's not it's not our domain. But we obviously have our own narrative or mission of what the phone look like, how you should use it. But if you bought the phone, you want a tool, we have an offer. Here's the way for you to build it and share with the community. But obviously. Oh, sorry. Please go ahead.
No. I was just going to ask, like, do you guys have? Because I knew about the SDK, but I would love a little bit more detail about it. Do you guys control what is getting put out there, or is it 100% community? Like, what if somebody built a Twitter? I guess Twitter clients don't really exist anymore, but you get it, like a Reddit. Nope.
So
all of these companies have shut down their APIs, but you get it. Like, what if somebody built a thing that is in
social media,
exactly. Something that would fly in the face of light.
I guess everyone's fear when we like thought about this initially was like, is it going to get abused? And for the last year before we officially supported it, there was a community of people already starting to hack and modify light phones. And what we saw was things that were aligned with our ethos. We didn't see people trying to build TikTok. We didn't see people trying to build Twitter or Instagram. They bought a light phone because they wanted to change their lifestyle. It wasn't about trying to beat the system and like figure out a way to get around it. They wanted one more thing, whether it was Spotify or this one thing.
That makes sense.
Field recorder.
And so we were just kind of like, And what we've seen is that everyone is kind of building things, but as Kai mentioned, this kind of tool library that will be vetted. So if it's going to be
Cool.
available to the larger user base that haven't enabled developer mode and aren't side loading it through the developer tools, like my mom would sign up and she'd see all of these tools, and those are 100% vetted by the community and by us. They're open source, they're free. But if someone wants to tinker and build a Twitter app for themselves on their light phone and spend hours on their light phone, I mean, that would be a disappointment to some degree. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like, it's your phone, you can do what you want. So there's different tiers. There's like unsupported ones that won't make the tool library that people might share, but realistically, we haven't even seen that yet at all. No one's trying to
Yeah.
beat the game in that way.
It makes because there's a buy-in, I guess, which I hadn't considered until now. But like it does, if you are going out of your way to buy a light phone product, like
Exactly.
why would you abuse it? It's how
you
I
can
feel.
buy a
It's how I feel when
smartphone.
people,
There's so many
Yeah.
smartphones if you really want to get
Cheaper
one.
too, maybe if you want to. It's
Well, I mean,
It's like,
cheaper because it's subsidized by our data. But yeah, you can get a subsidized
Yeah,
phone
it's like,
for really cheap.
why you
if
buy a
want.
iPhone 3 and put a social media on it? But if you want to do that, it's free. Feel
you
free
can
to do
if
so.
you but it's like when I've had a couple bad theater experiences where it's like we're in like an IMAX, like you upcharge to talk through the movie, or like this is a re-release, like you paid money to see a 30-year-old movie in theaters to talk through it, like okay, but like it
Yeah.
seems like you're really just wasting your money then. And I guess in the same way, or in a similar way, it's like you can do that, like nobody's gonna stop you or whatever with putting a social media app that you or somebody else built on your light phone, but does it not fly in the face of the money you spent on it? Like not even just the
that's a
principle, but the
good
money.
analogy. Good analogy. And then, we just haven't seen people up using it, and
Yeah.
people spend this money buying an iPhone. I think they're aligned with what we envision this lifestyle would be. And if one more tool will make you give up your smartphone for a longer period of time or forget, we all for it. Like if you need a banking app, you could build a payment thing, you could build for yourself, and you could use iPhone more often or for good. We're all for it. We will help supporting that too. So yeah, that's what's our tool bus going to do. I imagine like eventually we'll have hundreds of tools, you could choose from, all this utility, consistently visually, that you could download and use on your phone.
We lost Joe. Hopefully he will bounce back in, but we'll keep going.
Yeah.
It'll be good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Flip again specifically. One thing I that really caught my attention, because I feel like this was probably the biggest piece of criticism the Light Phone 3 received, was the pricing of it. And
Yeah.
I was surprised when you guys sent the press release over and it had $299, unlocked compared to what's the Light Phone 3 right now? Is it
Right now it's
$799?
$899.
$899, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's and especially in a world where we were watching every gadget go up in price. I mean, literally everything
DRAM,
going up in
memory.
price.
There's just no way out. It's all the memories are being
Yeah.
bought by AI servers, and all the cost of every consumer electronic that using memory is going to go up.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. But yes, we get those feedback, and I'll argue all day about the price. Is that how much money we spend on upgrading iPhone every 9 months? How many subscriptions you have on your iPhone every day?
Yeah.
And but at the same
Absolutely.
time, I get it. Like it's not a smartphone. The price might be high for some of the users. So like by still interviewing our users for users that use flip phone, affordability is a key for them. So we try to use this contract bundle model. We are a virtual service provider, so we can bundle the phone into the service plan that you need on your phone anyway. So like Flip, you could pay $39 a month, 24 months commitment, you get a Light Flip. So really make it affordable compared to a iPhone 3 premium material.
Very premium,
So it's higher price flagship Light Phone. But Light Flip, we intended to make it affordable and fun. That's why we come up with 6 different color: red, yellow.
I love the
navy.
colors.
Oh, thank you.
How'd you
Me
pick?
too.
Okay, how'd you pick the colors? That's actually what I want to know. And we'll get back to. I do want to ask a little bit more about pricing, but the colors, because like phones are. I just like. I mean, the Samsung event was this week, and they announced the Fold 8, the more squarish one, and It's finally like a book style foldable and like one interesting color. It's the web exclusive pistachio, but at least I'm like, finally a color on this like $2,000 smartphone. Like, good God. Like, so it was such a like breath of fresh air to like get the press images and be like, oh my God, this yellow is like bold and bright. This red is in your face in a good way. Like, so was that core to it? And like, how do you pick the colors? Like, tell me anything about this.
Well, it's very difficult to pick colors, even among ourselves, like fighting about, we want a pink, should we do pink? Should we do green?
The pink razor is iconic in a way, it's complicated.
I was going to tell you the story that I remember 20-something years ago, when Razor first came out, it's just silver. Like, that's the default. That was
my first phone, was the silver Razor
Nothing
V3.
Else.
That was my first phone.
No other colors. And then the developers, manufacturers, and designers in the factory were just like playing around different colors. And they do pink, they do green, they do yellow. So when and then they did a pink prototype, and I think T-Mobile or someone else saw the pink colors, and they just freaked out and started buying. They just want a pink phone, pink Razor phone. It's fascinating, and we want to duplicate that. I mean, I guess the fun part of using a flip phone.
Yeah, that's that. So it's just kind of one of those things where there's no reason not to offer. I mean, I suppose it probably it costs more to manufacture this many colors, but like. It's going to appeal to the audience that wants this to begin with, so it's worth that work and that cost.
And it is a bit easier. Say, I lost you guys for a second.
Oh,
there,
you're fine.
But,
welcome back.
Being that it's all plastic in sort of a uniform material throughout, that does make offering more colors easier. Where on the Lightphone 3, there's glass, there's plastic, there's metal, and so the 3 different vendors color matching each one for each color, that becomes a more extensive process. But yeah, I think one fun aspect about going with plastic was that we have this option to make these colors. And
that's awesome.
I love that, we talked about how there's no screen on it. It is this monolithic color in a way that, all of our other light phones have a screen. So if we do a different color, there's always going to be a black box.
Always a black square.
The Lightphone 2, we use an e-ink screen because when that's off, that can resort to either the light gray or the dark gray. Right. So the light gray phone did have a light gray when it was off, and we thought that was really cool. But this is almost like full circle to me from the original light phone, which was fully off because it only had LED for the number pad. And, obviously that phone prioritized calling, and I think this phone obviously prioritizes calling. It will have the best of, predictive T9, voice text, audio messages.
Have you guys been daily driving this at all? Like, have you guys used test devices?
The Light Flip is still in its pretty early design stages, but we have been using a lot lot of flip phones on and off for the last few months.
How is T9 dialing in 2026?
Oh, dude, I can't tell you how good that is.
Really?
Watch people fly through T9. I was like, how did you fly through T9? And you don't need to select the key, the characters anymore. Like press 3 times
instead of like H.
You press 1. Yeah, exactly. One time. I guess like AI, but it's predicting text.
It's machine learning. It's a separate
large language models. Before the word AI, we were doing this kind of predictive stuff.
I mean, that's the problem with the phrase AI.
So you can fly
20
through
different things. Yeah,
exactly. You fly through T9. You can also do voice to text on iPhone, so you don't have to type on a little thing. You can just say it. Nice. But like T9, it comes a long way, and it's swipe too, swipe texting.
But we're hoping that like the addition of speed dials in this form factor,
as
we mentioned,
oh my God,
I forgot.
And so like, put 9 people in your phone and call them often. Like you're bored because you don't have an app to open. Call your mom; she'll be glad to hear from you. Like these things that we're like,
that's a 2-hour conversation if I call my mom. That is the biggest thing. Like I love talking to my mom, but I know we are going to fall down a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah,
it's going to happen.
Fair enough.
Explaining life to my parents takes hours.
Fair enough.
No, but that's awesome. I have not relied on T9 texting since I was like 13 probably, because my second phone was the Samsung Alias, which had I don't know if you guys remember this. It opened 2 ways. It opened both like a standard flip phone, but also it had like a full QWERTY keyboard in it. It was very odd. It's a very strange phone.
It's a slider. A sliding
it didn't even slide.
Keyboard.
It just like folded. It had like 2 hinges. It was crazy. Look it up. If the listener, the viewer out there doesn't know, look up the Samsung Alias. It is to this day a wild device.
But
they did a second one where
how cool
it was
that
e-ink. It's awesome.
people made weird phones, like now you go to a phone store and whether you're picking Google, Apple, Samsung, nothing, they all are big glass rectangles.
Well, and
so I
smaller
loved
than
when
ever, right?
people made phones that look like little toy cars. People made phones like there's like a personality. There was colors. Is yours a slide? Is yours a flip? Is yours a that?
And some of them were bad, right? Some of them did not work.
Most
but
of them
like
are
at
bad.
least we were trying. Yeah, we were trying things, and it's one of those things where it's. To your point, it's like you go to a carrier store now. Like OnePlus is now officially gone. So like not that they were in carrier stores in general, but they're gone from the U.S. This market, was already contracting and very similar to how like COVID sort of sped up a lot of the death of a lot of like businesses or the transformation of a lot of businesses. It feels like this RAM shortage is like speeding up a transformation that was already happening in the mobile world.
Yeah, but I think what we're doing is so different. Like, you go into carrier stores, 100 smartphones, they all look the same. Like you have one flip phone made by, I don't know what companies, and probably 4G or 3G. No one cares about them. No one's updating them. No. I think with that, I think that's where we come in with iPhone 2, 3, now Light Flip. We're providing a middle ground that you still have all the modern tools. It's not going back in time. We don't ask you to live in a cave. Don't use technology. We're trying to say this is a tool designed for this purpose. You obviously have your smartphone. Use that if you have to. But here's an option that still have hopefully all the utility tools. Maybe Signal down the road, Telegram down the road, Rideshare down the road with the toolbox. But you don't have that component of civilians economy built in on every single thing you do. And I think it's necessary. And I kind of proven why we're still here after 11 years. We don't use advertisement. We don't pay social media to promote iPhone. All our sales are usually just word of mouth. People talking about it. I was going to
say, yeah.
But
I've had that happen to me in real life. Like like I said, I've had people talk to me about the light phone who are not into this industry. It's clearly caught on in a way.
If your friends in the group gets a light phone, everyone's going to be ragging on them at first. Whoa, green bubble guy now or something, da-da-da-da. But then 6 months later, what happens so many times is like, whoa, Tom's actually doing really good in life. He's happy and he's not doing this and he's
adjusted.
This, and he started going to the gym and he started doing this, and our users are leading by example. Like people say it's impossible to do this. I'm not a Luddite. I can't go back in time. And then you see a famous musician like, I don't know, Ed Sheeran uses a light phone. All these celebrities are using, and I mean obviously celebrities is maybe a stretch, but even an up and coming musician, they have their social media. They're promoting themselves, and then they go to the studio and they make good music with a light phone and focus, rather than like bringing all the things everywhere.
It's something that is started in. Oh, okay. The Luddite thing, and I'm not talking about the Luddite Club in general, but I mean like people who use Luddite as an insult when someone is when someone is frustrated with smartphones or frustrated with AI or whatever, right? And like it's like, okay. I don't think most people who are frustrated with these tools are like are like, and I'm throwing my computer, Nick Offerman Parks and Rec .gif, like I'm throwing my computer in the dumpster, right?
Move
like,
into the mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think that's what most people are saying when they're like, I'm frustrated about this past decade of technology, like 2 decades of technology. I think they're more just like, oh, these things that used to be fun, right? Like Facebook was fun. It's so hard to remember now, but there was a time when Facebook was a fun place. It was 15 years ago. It was, and like all of those, everything that is still around from that era has warped into something that most people don't really want to use, and so it's not surprising to me that
the legacy company always does that, right? But back in the days, I mean, using Apple as an example, the iPhone is like outliner. It looks, who want to type on a little glass screen? And it's like we kind of full circle, but it's the same sentiment that, like you're treating this outliner as a joke. Even like people, the young people that don't subscribe to AI everything, and the company treating them as, now they're gonna get over that. It's like almost like a jokey thing that young people don't like AI. But it's so
discrepancy.
real. The gap of how technology company promoting AI and what's potential of AI, which I'm sure there are really good potentials. But this group of people getting bigger and bigger, especially young people, their perceptions, their attitudes towards AIs are very different from what's here. This place are selling.
And we don't think it's a fad. We think it's a movement. And I don't know if Kai talked about like the Summer of Lud that just happened here in New York already or not.
No, tell me about
it. But like, the Luddite Club and a lot of these other younger and middle Gen Z attention activists, they call themselves, have been doing amazing work on the ground, and they do all sorts of events from like protests to different things, but a lot of like phone-free parties where like maybe you're flip phone curious, but you still have a smartphone, but you're curious. Come to our party. We'll put your phone in a locker for 2 hours. We can all dance around and see that like life goes on, and it's actually pretty fun to not have a smartphone. And they did this festival called the Summer of Blood, and it was many dozens of events over a week throughout the city. Some intimate kind of creative crafts, a big play where they recreated the Luddite story, all sorts of fun things, and it drew so much attention. And like Kai and I were present for a couple of the events, and it was like truly like, I don't know, I got emotional at them, like seeing all of these people feeling so strongly about something where like, sometimes it feels like David and Goliath were like pushing uphill with this light phone thing, and to see like, oh wow, this is like the manifestation of it in real life. And we saw light phones in the crowd, we saw flip phones in the crowd, and what we didn't see was many smartphones. And when one woman pulled up her smartphone, she got like booed trying to film something. And it's like, I don't think that's actually their attitude of like booing people. I think it's a very welcoming and love-based, fun-based revolution.
Look, you get a lot of people with the same mindset together, and things are going to get a little exaggerated over time.
You know what I mean? Like it's going to more than it was kind of like, oh, boo, like.
You're right, exactly. No one's serious, but they're gonna. There's a little bit of a collective mindset of like, hey, come on, see what we're doing here,
Yeah, but we feel so emotional connected to that too. Like back in the days in 2015, it almost feel like we're preaching something that a lot of people don't get. Why a simple phone or a different format of phone makes sense. But right now, we don't really need to pitch that much. Like you get it. Like you feel horrible with social media. Like you yourself are trying different ways to get off that addiction. I think a lot of people, not just young, or we're all trying to find a way to look for that balance again in your life, right? It's just so off balance right now.
It's not even just, I think a large part of it is kind of the transformation of these now legacy companies that started in the early days of the smartphones and have become the Metas, the whatever, fill in the blank. But part of it is also just, I think, a loss of novelty, right? Like the second these, I mean, look, like I got an iPod Touch in 2008. I got a second gen iPod Touch, and like, do you know what I'm sure one of the first like 5 apps I installed on the thing was? The Zippo Lighter app that everybody installed.
Why? You like held up at the concert?
Yeah, you just flip it open and close, right? Remember iBeer? And you could just look like you were drinking.
Or like the pizza app where you just press a button and it orders a pizza.
Right. Like, those things aren't around anymore, I assume. And if they are, they're like not updated.
I'm sure they are with 1,000 advertisement built in.
Well, or it's like tracking your location secretly and like
listening to every phone call you make. But like those days of there's an app for that, the app for that campaign.
Oh, that was like their phrase, for sure.
Yeah, it's gone. Like, who cares? Like,
people are like, I just want to order a salad. I don't want to download an app for this one store.
The like download. Oh my! The amount of times I'm like, I just want to look at your menu. Like, I don't even like fast. It's all fast food or fast casual. But it's like I don't even eat this that often. I'm traveling. I just want to look at the McDonald's menu or something, like to see what I can order. I don't want to download your app. And no, but like all of these companies are like, we want to be able to send you 1,000 push notifications a day.
Yep.
Like,
we need your data.
That's
we need
what
your
this
email,
all is.
We need your numbers. We need your location. So, I mean, that's the business model. Like at the end of the day, I think what matters is that business model, how a company make money. If everyone's relying on that model to make money, that's where we're going to go with OpenAI putting advertisement on ChatGPT. It's going to be the same thing. It's just more powerful, more
convincing, and it'll know more about you.
It's not a good place to be. We're repeating the same vicious cycle we're doing right now with more powerful machine. And there's no way out of this if we just keep doing that, going that way. I think that's why it's so encouraging to see young people starting this whole revolution or movement. I mean, I'm older than the generation, so I'm just so glad to see this is happening, and we'll do everything we can to support and help them, which is why I sort of build a life flip for them as well.
And I think like the light flip, it's such fun. Like in our mind, it's really the same exact experience. Do you want a touch screen kind of flagship thing, or do you want this fun tactile experience? But both of them are going to give you the same kind of like intentional utility without any of the noise. And so, we built this inspired by them, but like, I'm talking to Light Phone 3 users a lot the last few months, a couple of them, and like they want a light flip. Some of them, they're just actually that is fun. Like, a lot of flip phone users did convert to a light phone. A lot of old flip phones, when 3G got disbanded, were like, well, I don't really want to do touchscreen, but the light phone does check all of the boxes, privacy, this, that. And now they're like, oh my God, my dreams came true, full circle. I can have the light phone, but in the flip phone form factor. And some people are going to hate the flip phone form factor, and we'll always have, another option. So I think it's a lot more subjective, like even I am kind of like torn on like, I think I want to use a flip phone, but like the Light Phone 3 is my favorite thing in the world. And I'm like, I don't know. And so even internally in the team, we keep like doing votes on like, who wants to use a flip? Who's going this? And like some of our teams still use Light Phone 2. That's what they prefer. And a lot of our users obviously still use the Light Phone 2. And even at the time we said the 3 is not a replacement. It's a different vehicle for a slightly different user to experience going light.
That's awesome.
And the flip phone's just a further extension of that.
I'm really excited for it, I have to say. Like, if I can give you guys one piece of criticism, and this is obviously a joke, I wish it was launching tomorrow and not in April. I want it tomorrow. I'm sure you guys, same boat for you guys, I'm sure. But no, this is awesome. Okay, we'll leave it there because we're almost out of time, and I'm worried if we open another can of worms, we will spend 20 more minutes talking. And I don't want to take up your guys' entire day because again, you are in the middle of launching this and building this device, and so I don't want to keep you. But we will have to have you back on because I would love to talk more. Maybe even just closer to the launch of the light flip, we can talk a little bit about.
Let's get you one in hand.
Catch up and see what happened between
showcase
now and
the
April.
phone, calling people, texting. We'll showcase the T9 how smooth and
it's gonna be so cool. I'm so excited.
And there's a lot of fun decisions between here and there, and so everyone that's pre-ordered is now in our little similar to like our Kickstarter origin. Like we have lots of ideas around how the cursor can work, how we might introduce a color here or there that matches the phone or something. And there's a lot of fun interface things that we haven't even really let out of the bag yet that we've been exploring. And so over the next 8 months, even though you don't have the phone, we want to keep you motivated. We want to keep you inspired. We're going to be sending these bi-weekly emails called Flip Your Life. So if you're curious to get on board, the Light Flip is available for pre-order. And come
How can
hang
people
out
get
with
on
us.
the email list?
thelightphone.com.
There we go.
Lightphone.com.
There we go. Okay. And I would normally ask for you guys for what you want to plug, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that you probably don't want to plug social media.
I mean, we're there, and the irony is not lost on us. But I think the reality is, like, where are people on their phone scrolling away, not aware that a solution like the Light Phone might exist? We don't use social media to talk with our existing users because hopefully they're not there anymore. But we use it to promote to new people, and then we use email. That's how we usually work with our existing users to say, hey, Weather Tool and Authenticator just launched last week. We rolled those out for Light Phone 3. We email about that. I mean, we'll post it on social media in case someone was like, I really wish I could use a Light Phone, but I need 2FA for my job. We're like, now we have it.
Right there, right here. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. and same with weather, honestly. I mean, you guys are getting to the point where does the developer program support any rideshare apps yet?
There's maybe some things up our sleeve, so hope to have news about that soon.
Awesome. Kai, Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it. Well.
And that does it for this week's Sideload. Thank you again to Joe and Kai from Light. Go check out the Light Phone, the Light Phone 3, the Light Flip, all of their stuff over at their website. The best place to reach me is will@9to5mac.com. Feedback is always welcome, as are guest suggestions. As always, you can find, rate, and review us on the podcast platform of your choice, and share the show with a friend if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to 9 to 5 Google on YouTube, where you can find full video versions of every episode of the Sideload, alongside all of the excellent work, as always, being done by Damien and Jordan. If you haven't, go check out 9 to 5 Google's other podcast, Pixelated, where Damien, Abner, and myself chat about the week's news through a Google and Pixel-friendly lens. We actually just did a deep dive into everything announced at Unpacked last week, which breaks the flow a little bit, but it was a very fun episode. Finally, don't forget to check out 9 to 5 Google Pro, which nets you a whole bunch of perks for just $5 per month, including a weekly bonus episode of Pixelated. And so far, those have been a blast. They're basically, I mean, think of it as, $1 an episode, and you get to listen to, another 30 to 45 minutes of myself, Damien, and Abner chatting about tech and tech-adjacent topics. It's been a lot of fun. That's it for this week. We will be back in 2 weeks with another guest, and I promise I will force myself to not talk about logging off. See you in the next one.